dancing, to let the music and rhythm flow through your body, often associated with moving on one's 2 feet. However, the dance we know as breaking is the most difficult, extreme, creative, and competitive dance, has flipped the entire dancing definition upside down. The upside down style, one of the rarest, most dynamic approaches to the music, is a freestyle approach to rocking the beats completely upside down with one's feet in the air. Join us on this journey to overturn the secrets of the upside down style.
I'm Dyzee of the Supernaturals. Join me on this 12-episode journey as I go deeper into the origins to uncover the lost and secret styles of b-boying. In 2001, after winning the Rocksteady Anniversary, the biggest one-on-one battle of that time, I began to travel to all the biggest b-boy events to represent and earn a bigger rep. I was at the top of my solo b-boy game. In 2002, Supernaturals entered Lords of the Floor, which was one of the battles that brought my name out across the world. During those days, one of my greatest strengths was my quick reflexability to respond to any move, style, or routine thrown at me, which helped us to defeat one of the strongest and fiercest battle teams ever in b-boying history, Ground Zero. As we advanced to the second round, I was met with a style that I had absolutely no response to, the upside down style, similar to the technique and style known as stacking freezes, aka stacks. To me, looked like it was freestyled, thus having different forms and details, never 2 rounds being exactly the same like a set. After losing that battle, I returned home to begin training for the day that I would ever be faced with a style like that again. Unfortunately, I found my first b-boy limitation that I was born with. My head has a sharp bump on the top of my head that prevents me from being on my head for too long. And although I could handstand, there were already other amazing stackers as well as other b-boys who had their own rendition of an upside down style, such as Kerge of the Headhunters crew, who were my rivals and friends at the same time. By the mid-2000s, the second mainstream media explosion of b-boying occurred in the very unlikely country of South Korea, where the b-boys and b-girls around the world saw the biggest types of battles on stage with the highest level productions. One of the most world-famous b-boys during those times, and until this day, was b-boy Physicx, who not only had stacking freezes down to a science, but also took the upside-down freestyle to the next level, amongst other Korean b-boys who also did the same. Although a rare and lost style of b-boying, I really wanted to include this style and approach to breaking. So recently, I've been given an opportunity to travel to Shanghai for a business meeting with Physicx for a huge b-boy project that I call The Plan. I'll be using this trip to connect with at least 2 of the most important figures of this style.
I'd say about 2000, 2001, where I really got into that style. But it was back in '97, man. Like, you know, I had really bad knees, so I couldn't do footwork. You know what I'm saying? Like, my footwork was whack, yo. Like, so you know, I would be dancing on the ups, and, right? I'd be dancing on the ups, and you know, because my knees were weak at the time, you know, I played a lot of basketball in high school and stuff like that. I mean, I think that's what damaged it, but you know, ultimately they were just weak. And so when I would dance, I would go straight down. I would skip footwork, and I'll go straight to my head.
Nobody knows where anything came from. You know, being upside down, you know, any kid would love to be upside down and do a handstand. You know, my first experience with being upside down, you know, I'd have to give credit to the movie Only the Strong, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen, and it has to do with capoeira. And it was very similar to breakdancing, and I loved it. And to be honest, at that point, I was no longer breaking, but I wanted to learn what they were doing in that movie. And it wasn't until about 1996 when I really started seeing an upside down type style in breaking. History will show us, like through footage or word of mouth, that air freezes have been done for so long, for so many decades, right? But I feel like it was flipped around 1995, 96, and you know, that's my understanding, being where I'm from and the limited resources that we had back in our day.
When I started breaking, when I started breaking 96.
96.
That time in Korea, really famous, really popular freeze combos.
Oh.
So that time I really like to do freeze combos, and I always practice freeze combos.
But yo, so I used to train with E.T. You know E.T. from he's in our crew. E.T. Todd, Quest, Extra, Testico, you know, and the other homie Rob. So all three of us would train together. We would hit up the gym, but I would see E.T. style how he trained, and he had this kind of like grappling style where he roll on the ground and sort of what like Hong Ten, kind of got that flavor from, right? And so I was like, yo, that's fucking ill. Like, I want to do that too. I want to do that in a way where I can, freestyle some groundwork. And because my knees were weak, I started doing shit on my head. Started just trying to hit the beat on my head and just, taking it from there.
Back in my day, we had VHS tapes, but they're very scarce. Like, they weren't around so much. But, we did get a hold of a couple of videos, and the first one that comes to mind is Battle of the Year 1996. And in that video, Battle Squad performed Storm and Swift Rock. And I believe it was Swift Rock that hit an invisible bridge, also known as a hollowback to many. But back then when I heard the term invisible bridge, it sounded so cool. And when he did it, it looked amazing. Like, his feet were like literally like this far off the ground, and he stuck it and pulled it all the way back. And that's kind of like, that was just amazing to me, and I wanted to learn that move. And then fast forward, maybe a month or two later, we get a hold of Radiotron with Style Elements versus Renegades. When I saw Style Elements in that battle, like, I saw something different than what I'm used to, and that's kind of what opened up my eyes and the eyes of my friends on, how we could approach this dance in a different way. And so it was very uplifting for us, and from that day that we watched that video, we practiced really hard.
It was just a whole nother way of getting loose. But they've done that shit in capoeira. The Shaolin monks were doing it, and cats were probably doing this shit way before I ever started getting in my head. But dancing to the breaks, dancing in the house, whatever. Didn't matter. So yeah, long story short, just on the freestyle tip, man, that's what I came up with. Wanted to develop it more, but I wanted to rock the beat with it. So that's the head stuff.
Actually, this style created at the battle. When I was battling in 2001, and when I battle, some idea came out. Like, I do always a freeze combo, and maybe I try too fast maybe this is cool. And then I just tried and I just did it successfully. So like that I just did first time. Just I did something thinking come out, maybe like this, and I just did. That was at the like underground battle. Like that time we don't have a competition, so we did like with some battle with the exhibition battle with some crew at the Beagle, and with the Lewi's crew. That time I was Lewi's crew. And like one crew, maybe like 1 hour, sometimes 2 hours. Yeah. So actually that time like we don't have much worry about the fail. You know, just I do what I do. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really freedom, and I just thinking and I just did. And that time really like blow ups everybody. You know.
Going back to the origin of this style, you know, Remind and Crumbs, they had a lot of UMs. You know, they were upside down a lot, and you know, Crumbs was just super amazing at it. You know, with the stacks, you know, his level changing, his threads upside down, his freezes upside down, his hand hops upside down. You know, and Remind had his own, you know, moves and take on being upside down, which was amazing as well. I could say truly that my style was inspired by style elements and others as well along the way.
At that time, for me, the Circle Fire crew, that crew is really like famous and popular, you know, that time, right? And they came to Korea often, and they give us really big inspiration. Yeah. So I really like, especially OLB, I really like him, and I much follow his moves. Yeah.
I mean, when it comes down to it, it's the music, right? And the music make you do some crazy stuff. But it wasn't like I wasn't training on the head stuff. You know, I definitely was in the laboratory trying to create something different. And like I said, E.T. Todd, he was a huge influence because he was so left field. So when I seen him train, I was like, yo, let me try this head stuff. Let me slide to the beat.
The next on my list would have to be Circle of Fire. You know, and the people that stand out to me, you know, coming from my style, like, you know, that had influence on me, of course, is Orb and Seth. You know, they were amazing. Like, Orb pretty much danced on his head, sliding back and forth, using his feet on the beat, and what have you. And Seth was very intricate on his movements upside down as well, where it wasn't just freezes, it was like body movements into freeze. They have a capoeira background, and so I immediately felt inspired by them.
But yo, straight up, like, you know, it was the music that made us go outside the box and, you know, try to develop something different that nobody's seen before. And then, of course, when I started getting into capoeira, which was way later after that style and stuff too, I was like, yo, they've been sliding on their head, they're sliding on gravel.
Third, I actually had access to someone that was heavy in capoeira out here in San Jose. And he goes by the name Hirafa, and he was part of San Jose Capoeira, or Capoeira of San Jose. And he actually went to my high school, and I would see him at the clubs. Lucky for me, I had an older brother. I used his ID, and I would catch him at the clubs, and we would go at it, ciphering at the club. Of course, he was doing all his capoeira, but to the music that was playing, and it was amazing. The approach that he had was very similar to a b-boy, and he was doing the most amazing upside down shit, from head to being on his hands, back to his head, spinning, catching into a chair, you know, like, it was just amazing. It was never ending flow upside down. There's other people too that, you know, I should mention, like Tails from West Coast Rockers, Eric from Climax Soul Control, Natron, Rob, my brother Rome from True Move, Wise One from True Move. All these guys, you know, kind of helped shape who I became or how I danced upside down.
And I always try to develop this move as like difficult or something blow up.
My ultimate goal was to be able to freestyle dance on my hands, because my brothers from True Move, you know, they were brought up as freestyle dancers, and so I was a freestyle dancer too.
I mean, the intended purpose is like just to be different, you know what I'm saying? Be so outside of the box, be unorthodox with your dance, you know?
After that, like I want to get my style, you know, own my style. So I just try to only my moves, try to be only myself. So I just did it. Yeah.
While they're dancing on their feet, I was trying to figure out my moves on my hands and trying to make it look as if I was just dancing on my hands as opposed to just hitting one freeze.
Well, the strength of the style is being so different that nobody else is doing it in the context of either dancing to breaks, house, hip hop, or whatever. But the weakness was being on the head too much.
I think good thing is not much people do this style. I can make like my style from this. I really do freestyle this. Actually, just everything freestyle, so I really can be like freedom and empty of my mind. So I think this is good thing. And I think bad thing is when I start, it's really hard to start because it's difficult. So it takes long time for practice. And I think it's hard to create it by style because there's not much people do like different style, you know.
Not, you know, be able to explore other opportunities that your body can move to the music. And so, you know, I feel like at times it was like, I would be like, damn, I got on my head too much. You know, especially if you're battling, you don't want to repeat. And so sometimes that ended up happening, and it's like, yo, I need to go back to the laboratory. I need to figure out a different way to move. Yeah, I mean, you know, Physicx, right? Like when I saw Physicx, and he not necessarily is doing stuff on his head, took it to the next level where I don't even recognize things that I would do in those moves. And that's the dope thing. People were like, yeah, Physicx got his style from Ore, but I'm like, yo, Physicx is on another planet, you know? And the same thing with Hong Ten. It's like, yo, Hong Ten got a style from E.T. Hong Ten's on a whole different planet. And these guys, and if people want to say that, but these guys took that style of being upside down, especially for Physicx, took that style to a whole nother level. You know what I'm saying? Where he influenced the whole world, you know, on that style alone. You know, nobody like know about Orb on that level, but I know about Physicx, and people know about Physicx, and I see cats to this day still trying to do Physicx moves.
Orb and E.T. from also Circle of Fire. In Korea, actually, many b-boys did this style.
Like who?
Like my crewmate is Baekdu, but he don't dance anymore. And some guys of Expression crew. And Hong Ten also he did some freeze combo, but actually it's different style with him. Yeah, but there's also upside style, up down style.
Yeah.
You know, the foundation or the steps to conquer it and, you know, really be able to set yourself free upside down is to have balance. It just takes a lot of repetition and a lot of just being on your hands. You know, one thing you could do is use the wall to help guide you. It'll also help develop your flexibility in your lower back to do hollow backs or invisible bridges. If you can learn how to balance, then strength doesn't really play a factor. But having strength is always going to be a benefit in anything you do. So working out your shoulders and stretching them and taking care of them is going to be helpful.
But it's like, there's certain exercises in capoeira, that you can do to get to your head, and that's the side, I wish I knew the exact name of it. But, B-boys, would tend to just do it anyways. It's kind of like, just the body language of getting onto your head. But people that want to get on their head and just, either head spins, freezes, or whatever and stuff too, the slow process is building the neck muscles up. And that's like, slowly getting onto your head, working your legs, holding yourself up in a headstand, kicking your legs and getting the feel of it and slowly going back down instead of rushing into that move, thinking that your neck is already strong and can handle your body weight, So, there's ways of easing into it. And, I mean, man, what these cats are doing nowadays, man, it's like, they might as well just be levitating.
Yeah, handstand. When I start this move, I always do chair freeze to elbow freeze, handstand, and one hand freeze, and back to elbow freeze and chair freeze. I practice a lot of this. So this is my foundation, because I did this for that time 2 hours, just practice freeze combos.
I know what I did. I went outside the box, man. I listened to jazz, we listened to classical, we were listening to all kinds of different types of music. Just experiment and see where it would take us on this dancing level. Now, mind you, at my age, I like the music that I like listening to. I have my preference. It's a vibratory thing. It's a frequency that you resonate more with on the music tip. And so when I was going box experimenting, man, it made me move a different way. And so, if cats are getting bored with listening to breaks too much, listening to the house too much, go outside the box and, tickle that creative side of you to see. But you can always come back to that essence of what the culture is and what the music that is a part of that culture.
Many people ask me how to do these moves, this style. But I always say you do freeze combo, maybe freeze combo, 30 freeze combo, or 50 freeze combo, and then you can do easily. Yeah. So when I young time, I did 80s, 100s combo, not just and that time I practice a lot. So now actually I'm not much practice freeze, but I always I can do relax and chill, just really easy I can do, because I did much practice that time. That is my foundation. So now I chill, just handstand, combo, listen to music. Yeah. So I suggest them you do 30 combos, turn your leg down, and just 30, or start 30 to 50, and then you can do easy.
To be honest, through my history as a b-boy, I took a lot of heat for not being traditional, in battles. I hear people say, oh, you don't have a 6-step, or where's your foundation at, and back then, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, because at heart I am a b-boy, and because my approach isn't the same as yours, it doesn't mean it's wrong. And at this point in my life, I say fuck it, it doesn't matter to me what people think, it really doesn't, because my happiness and my love for dancing is all that really matters. My love for music, that's all that matters to me. And so you could call me a b-boy or you could call me something else. You know, at the end of the day, I'm a dancer, and you know, the people like True Move, Circle of Fire, and Style Elements, they taught me that, you know, I could just be myself.
Yeah, if I had the proper training and like, you know, really developing my legs and getting them strong, because, you know, I would see cats do footwork and I'm like, yo, I want to do that. But you know, certain handicaps was not allowing me to do that. Wasn't allowing me to get loose. But you know, I feel like in this day, fast forward, you know, I have a new lease because I know how to take care of my body now. You know, it's been years and stuff, and I think that's what comes with age is knowing how to take care of your body. So you can have longevity doing this dance. It's such the honest to God truth. It's from ignorance. You know what I'm saying? Not knowing how to take care of my legs to get them strong, why I ended up on my head.
As I journeyed to overturn the secrets and history of the upside down style, I've once again discovered that the heart of this style came from man's desire to be different from the rest and to find and discover one's own identity through breaking. Although this style ultimately came from stacking freezes, it differs in the sense that it's almost completely freestyling to the music rather than just hopping or transitioning on beat. This kind of style is what really rivals all other dances, which demonstrates and proves that our art form, breaking, is the ultimate and most difficult type of dance and approach to the music in history. Perhaps, one day, there will be other b-boys and b-girls who will take the upside down styles to the next level by flipping it once again.
Hey, what's up y'all? I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Upside Down Style Revolution. Like every episode, I want to leave you with a little something at the end. For all you beginners out there that want to kind of try out this style and get into it, here's a few beginner tips to get into this style. I'm just going to be going off what Orb and Physicx both talked about. Now let me be honest, this kind of style is not my forte. It's actually the weakest thing that I can do. But like all the styles out there, when I was young, I tried every single thing. All the best battlers in the world have a response to everything and anything. And of course, having something that other people can't do, and whatever they do, and other people do, they do it the best, right? So with that said, here we go. Now like Physicx said, it's all about doing as many freezes as possible. I'm gonna try to do at least 10. Here we go. First things first is if you wanna hide one of these fat tummies, gotta tuck it in. 1, give us a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, now that I did 10 freezes, the next level is to start freestyling and kicking those feet and just letting it loose. So I'm gonna try to do almost the same set, but with some kicking.
Step up or step off, get rolled on, smoke then toss. Beginning of a legend at a minimal cost. With plenty of cars, so go bring the alarm. Pause, let them feel the calm. Before I unleash the storm, you've been warned, get it on. No time to waste, as my flow invades space, there's no escape. Can't beat me in shell toes. New school fuse with retro. Unleash the beast and let go. Y'all can't compete the feet off.
Alright guys, I tried my best. That was really hard, you know, for a person who's almost 40 years old, turning this year. I think I did alright for someone that never even has tried this style for a long ass time. But, you know, like Kerge said, once you get the technique and the balance, then you don't even need strength anymore. So I'm really lacking the strength, but I got the technique and balance down in the 24 years that I've been breaking. So anyways guys, hope to see you guys in the next one. Next one's gonna be an awesome one, alright? See you guys next week on the Lost and Secret Styles of B-Boy. Peace!